Welcome to another help desk training video. Today we're going to concentrate on tickets. We have tons of them. We have around 70 tickets we need to work on. And this one is going to be about printers. We're going to have a lot of printer issues in this video. So we're going to talk about that, and hopefully it's a good educational and fun video for you. All right, let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Erwin, also known as Koboman. Welcome to another help desk training session. We have lots of tickets to cover. We have about 70 of them, so we're going to get into it right now. Here we go. The first one is about ScreenSaver. I'm going to make sure the ticket is assigned to myself so I can get credit for it first and foremost. And it says here ScreenSaver, and it's about I'm inquiring if we're able to have ScreenSavers activated on computers listed below. And it lists a computer name. This is a computer name, what it looks like, I'm assuming. The settings state that the ribbon screensaver should start after 30 minutes. However, they do not, and rather we have the blue screens on displays. How do you activate screensavers on computers? All right, so we're just going to look for the turn on screensavers on and off feature in Windows, and here it is. So we can just set it up to whatever it is. In this case, let's see if there's anything specific that we wanted. So no matter what kind of screensaver you set up, so again, this is under screensaver settings on your computer. Let's just do Mystify here. We're going to click on any settings here. You can adjust them obviously, but what I wanted to actually adjust here is the wait time before it turns on. So I'm just going to set it up to 30 minutes and I'm going to click apply and then OK. So this would change it, right? So that's pretty simple, right? So again, if you want to go in, just search for screensaver on your computer. You will get these settings. Then you can modify them any way you want and set things like that. Unless your company, or the company that you work for, or I don't know, university or school or whatever, they may have this controlled by group policy. And yeah, there is nothing you can do. So it might be restricted. So you can't make these changes unless you have administrator privileges. Otherwise, if it's your own computer, you can simply make these settings, change these settings. So I'm just going to reply. I'm going to say, you can change screensaver settings under the same menu as your regular screensaver. I mean, I'm not sure how else to word it, and I'm going to say unless screensaver is controlled by the group policy for your company. This is controlled. I meant to say control, not controller. Controlled by the group policy for your company. So there's really not much you can do when it comes to this, right? If it's controlled by that. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to close the ticket for now. As a reminder, if you've never seen my videos, make sure you resolve the issues before you close any tickets. I'm just closing them now because this is for educational purposes. Unassigned issues. Excel issues, let me see here. We may have talked about this one in a previous video. That's okay. Let me just kind of read it again just to make sure it might be a different ticket. So it's Excel issues. My accounts on my desktop are not syncing. You have my laptop in the office at the help desk, but now my desktop is acting crazy. It will not save my Excel documents, still have the error icon on the email. Can you help? So I would need more details. So this is a different issue, but I would need more details to figure out what's going on. It says here my accounts on my desktop are not syncing. So what kind of accounts? Are we talking about OneDrive? Because if you look over here, here's a OneDrive, right? Of course, it's not going to be syncing unless you sign in. In my case here, this is OneDrive for Business. So I would have to sign in order to sync everything. So I forget what my password here is for whatever, but you may have to make sure that you're signed in, right? That's one of the main things. If you're using OneDrive or whatever it is, you may have Google for desktop or desktop for Google or whatever it's called. So the same difference. So, and it says you have my laptop at the office at the help desk, but now my desktop is acting crazy. See, I don't know. This person sounds like they're just panicking, and we would have to take a look to see what's going on. This doesn't tell me anything else. It will not save my Excel documents. Well, first you said that they're not syncing, and now you're saying it will not save my Excel documents. So these are two separate issues. Still have the error icon on the email. Still have the, is this a question? I'm not sure here. So this is a third issue. This is a third issue. Can you help? So in this case, this could be many things. It could be many errors. It could be one same issue that's causing all these issues. We just don't know. And I know it says here there's an attachment, but it's just the same. It's a copy of the ticket. So I'm just going to go back. There's no actual screenshot. So I'm just going to go back to it and I'm just going to close it. Then I'm going to say, well, I'm going to say there is not enough information here for me to, I'm going to say, for me to provide suggestions to correct these issues. I would need hands-on and talk to the user in order to help. It sounds like there are multiple issues happening here. And I'm going to explain something here specific. A lot of times when you give somebody a different computer, they're going to have issues. There's a really high chance of that unless you spend time with them while you're handing that new computer to them. So in this case, you know, it says my account on my desktop are not syncing. You have my laptop, right? So my account on my desktop are not syncing. You have my laptop in the office, but now my desktop is acting crazy. So there was some kind of a swap of a computer. Every time you do this, you have to, it's for the best that you spend some time when you hand over a replacement or a temporary or a loaner computer. You have to spend some time with the user to make sure they can get into their systems, that everything is working fine. So have them log into whatever it is that they use, whether it's email or office products or whatever it is that they need. Make sure that they can get into this and make sure that they can access their files that they normally use, right? And talk to them if there is an issue with syncing. Like for example, if something requires time to download, re-download, resync, you have to let them know that this is happening. But to me, this is a perfect example of somebody given a replacement desktop to somebody or a laptop, and they're now having issues because, you know, they haven't been helped out initially. Now, that's just one of the examples, right? It may be that this person is just panicking, because sometimes you come across users that are just panicking. So no matter what you do, they're going to come back with these type of issues. So unfortunately, this is what's happening here. So I'm just going to resolve it. Again, don't close tickets unless you actually resolve them. All right, moving on. Color printer issue. By the way, Tracy, thank you so much. I see you've submitted tons and tons of tickets. I appreciate you. Color printing issues. The color printer in EMASH 5110, okay, so that's a specific location, is having printing issues. Every 10th page or so, it print color bars horizontally across the page, both front and back. Again, this does not happen every time something is printed, only every 10 to 12 pages or so. I have attached photos for examples that were printed double-sided. The pages on the left side are how they should be, but the pages on the right side are how they printed. Okay, so there is a screenshot. That's great. Okay, let's take a look at this. All right, so here we go. Oh, I see. So here is what it's supposed to look like, and here are these lines that show up. So this could be a couple of different issues. It could be, well, depending on what kind of printer it is, right? Let me see if there's any information on this. So it's a HP LaserJet Pro 400. Let me see. Let's do a quick search of this. There are tons of different printers. It's okay to Google to see what kind of printer it is, or even if you need help resolving something. So this is a LaserJet laser printer. Okay, I've seen enough. Here are examples of, this is a color printer, so here are example of cartridges that you have to put in, and you replace them with 4 at a time, right? So this is what you would do. Here's just black, here's blue, here's yellow, and here is this purple looking one, right? Or it might be called magenta, I don't know. Anyways, you got to put all 4 in order to work. So if you just want black and white, you can just put the black one in and that should work fine. But I digress. Let me get to the point. So this could be a couple of different issues. It could be an issue with the ink itself, those cartridges, but I would kind of lean more towards a fuser issue. So fuser is a thing that helps fuse the okay, so how do I explain what the fuser is? So you got cartridges, right, with the ink, right? So here they are. This is an example of that. And let me look up a fuser. So fuser is basically a mechanism that's in the back of the computer, in the back of the printer itself, and it sits in the back of it, and it helps fuse the ink to the paper. And that's simply what it does. Now, exactly how it works, I'm not sure, but that's the purpose of a fuser, right? So this could be a bad fuser that's causing this issue. So obviously check the levels of the ink cartridges that we just looked at. So all 4 of those, make sure they have full cartridges, right? Or it doesn't have to be full, but enough in there so it works. And it kind of looks like it would. But this fuser is usually in the back of the printer. Let me see if I have a full picture here. HP laser. Sure, let me look at some images here. So it depends on the printer. Let me get a better picture here. Here we go. So in the front here usually is where the cartridges are. I mean, they may be up here somewhere as well. So you would pop this front part of it open. You would pop that open, and this is where you would put the cartridges in. It would be just like one here, one there, blah, 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 or just like insert them like this, just kind of insert one by one. Now on the back, so behind this printer, on the back of this printer, that's where the fuser, it kind of stands behind this part of it. So it's a little bit further down. So kind of almost like halfway down, but not exactly. But it's in the back of this printer. That's where the fuser is. So chances are that's what the issue here is, right? So that's what I'm going to suggest. All right, I'm going to go back to my ticket here. I'm going to say double check to make sure that ink/toner, right? Toner is not empty. So I'm going to say, i.e. in this example, check to make sure that color cartridges, sorry, my English is my second language. Color cartridges are not empty, right? So I'm just going to leave it at that. And I'm going to say this, in my opinion, looks to be a fuser problem. Okay, so I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to do this here. However, this, in my opinion, looks to be a fuser problem. So I'm going to do this, and And the reason I'm suspecting this is because you do have full color here. It seems to be printing fine when it comes to color and this and that, but you see these streaks, right? You see these streaks and it gets smeared in some cases, right? And it happens every 10th or 12th page. To me, that means that something's going on with the fuser, because it's the fuser that helps fuse the ink to the pages themselves. All right. So that's resolved. Again, a toner is simply a mechanism as part of the laserjet printer that helps fuse the ink to the paper, and it's usually done by heat. It's not usually, it's done by heat. So it heats up and it helps it fuse. All right. Outlook issue. Our compliance officer, Chris McRoberts, is experiencing problems trying to open Outlook. Chris is a full-time employee at CCBC. I believe that's a university. He transitioned from a part-time associate to a full-time employee. He needs access to complete his work. Outlook is also not appearing in Microsoft Office 365 as an available app for Chris. So this is a very simple ticket, in my opinion. And you see this occasionally. It says here, compliance officer Chris, he is experiencing problems trying to open Outlook. And it says here he's a full-time employee. He transitioned from part-time associate to full-time employee. So this is the key thing here, right? This is the key thing right here. And this what tells me what this usually means, excuse me, is that typically part-time associates, they're not going to have an Office 365 license associated with their login. But if they are full-time employees, and they need this to complete their work, right? They need to use Outlook, is not appearing. That means that their license for Office 365 need to be changed. And I can show you this here in a moment. So this is done either in the side of the Microsoft 365 Admin Center or Azure Active Directory. You can do it both, but let's just do it here. So if you have it open and obviously you need to have access to this. If you go to users, active users, you can search for Chris, I believe. In this case, we don't have Chris, but it's okay. We're just going to pick a random person. We're going to pick George Henry here. So we're going to select George Henry, and here it is, licenses and apps, and then make sure you select a correct licenses for them. See, right now, I don't have anything for George here because I don't have any active licenses, because I've made tons of videos on Office 365 already, and the educational licenses that I've used, they're all expired. But by the way, I have lots of Office 365 training videos if you'd like to check them out. So just go to my channel and just do a search for Office 365 if you're interested in those. I have crash courses on that. Anyways, this is where you would change it, right? This is where you would change it. Make sure they have a license that will allow them to, view Outlook, right? At least that. And there are some limitations to this. It could be just Office access, for example, office.com. So let me just go back to our main computer here. So if you just go to office.com, the certain licenses will only let you access Outlook on office.com, meaning the online version of that. I don't know why it's not coming up here. Anyways, so come on, it should come up. There it is. So here it is. Here's Outlook. So if I open up web, but if you have installed Office 365 on your computer and you don't have the correct license, then you will not be able to necessarily access Outlook. Just keep that in mind, depending on some licenses are like that. So I'm just going to start the reply. I'm going to say this is most likely I'm going to say an Office 365 licensing issue. I would adjust the license for the user. I'm going to say keep in mind that some Office 365 licenses only allow for online Outlook access through office.com. So I'm going to leave it at that. All right, good progress. We're going through these pretty quickly. I'm happy about that. Here we go, printer issue, another printer issue. Um, this is a different printer, I'm assuming. Printer issue, lots of printer issues. When I or Steve try to print to our copier in the math department, it acts as though it's printing and even disappears from our computer's print queue, but nothing happens at the printer. Please help, thanks. So, okay, well, printers can cause all kinds of weird problems. Let me see. I mean, if you're trying to print to your copier, see, this is the thing with users. They think that a copier is a copier, but it's also a printer, but they don't say that. So chances are that this thing is so. Okay, so this is not a computer name. I highly doubt this. Let me just Google it. It's just to see if it's some kind of a code for, yeah, it's not. So it's a computer name in the sense that it's a host name for a computer specifically for the university where Tracy works at, right? So we're never going to be able to look this up because it's a random name that somebody assigned to a printer when it was joined to the network, right? So we don't know what kind of printer it is, although they call it a copier, and then over here they call it a printer, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. So there are a couple of different issues, all right? They say it's printing and even disappears from the computer's print queue. So which is good. That means that the printer job is sent to the printer, and we don't know what happens to it, right? But nothing happens to the print. So it's sent to the printer, but the printer hasn't processed that. So we would have to look at the printer on basically web interface if there is one for this computer, and chances are there is. So what you need to do is actually take this computer name, and this really should be set up like this. It may not be. And what you need to do is to access it online, and a lot of people may not know this, is to open up your browser and just type in https colon forward slash forward slash, and guess what? Type in that host name. Now, as long as you're on the same network, when I hit enter here, I should be able to go to the web interface for the printer, right? As long as it's on the same network. And, I can't get to it, right? Because I'm not on the same network. And this would basically let me log in and take a look at what's going on. And I'm going to show you an example of that real quick here. I'm going to say HP printer web interface. Let's get an example of this. Here it is. So here's an example of web interface for a printer, and it gives you like a device status, and then you can look at different things in here to see if it's ready. And if it's not ready, for example, it would give you an error. It would say right here, literally where it says ready, it would give you an error. It says halted because of this, or not working because of that. Like, I don't know, tray issue, no paper in the tray, low ink, or something like that. So this is what I would do. Obviously, you can go physically to the printer, but some of these settings you can't tell, except if you need to load the paper, right? You need to load the paper, but if it's sent over there, chances are it has paper. Anyways, this is what I would do. I will access it, and of course you can use the IP address for it. So if you were to ping that computer name and get an IP address, same difference. As long as DNS is working, you should be able to get to the web interface, whether you're using the printer name, the host name for it, or if you get an IP address for it, which is done by simply pinging it, right? So if you need to do that, you can open up a command line and just type in ping and then paste the computer name in there, right? Right, like this. Hit enter, and then if it's on there, it'll give you an IP address, and then you can access it just like that. So that's what I would do. And what else could cause the problem? Well, printers are finicky, so it's always a different issue, but I would start here and look at the status and see if there's anything wrong with that. One good rule of thumb when it comes to printers is to basically turn it off for a little bit and turn it back on after like a minute or two. Sometimes they get stuck like that because printers are just weird like that. So I'm just going to start typing before I lose track of thought. I would say I would check to make sure that printer is not receiving specific errors through the web interface for that printer. So I'm going to say I.E in this example, HTTPS colon, right? So I'm going to say, and yeah, you can literally just click on it. The way I have set it up, you can literally click on this link after you get this comment, or when you get this note. And then I'm going to say, check basic stuff as well, like paper, jams, ink / toner levels. You can also try to, let's see here. Let me just move this here a little bit more. Try to disconnect power from the printer. Wait a couple of minutes. Then power back on. Now, again, I'm assuming that there is nothing wrong at the PC level. Of course, check that as well. But it sounds like the job was sent. Otherwise, you would get an annoying "there is a print job in the queue" message on your computer. So I'm assuming that was sent properly, and I'm assuming that all the issues lie with the printer itself, which is highly likely, right? So this is what I'm doing here. What else? I'm going to say, as a last resort, you can possibly update the firmware for that printer if you can't fix it. Oh, I'm going to say this. Try resetting to factory defaults. Now, if you do this, you would have to go back in and adjust the tray sizes and all of that stuff. So if you go in here, if you go to system, it just depends on which type of printer you have, but these are just an examples. You can do factory reset, so make sure you do a factory reset. And let me see, I'm trying to look for an image that has that. Anyways, it's in here. I want to say in this specific one is under system. So do a factory reset, but don't forget that you have to go back in and reset tray sizes. So let's say you have a printer that's printing different size of things, not just regular plain paper. Like if you have something that's, for example, let's say you work in some kind of environment that uses some kind of labels, or some kind of special type of stuff, then you have to make sure you set the tray sizes correctly and basically reconfigure everything. All right, so I'm going to leave it at that. And of course, I said as a last resort, you can possibly do the update. You can possibly update the firmware for the printer, and that's done through the interface here. Through the interface here, you can just download the new firmware, and through the interface, you basically tell it, well, here's the location where I've downloaded the firmware, and then you update and you wait and this and that. So hopefully that helps. I'm not going to keep it open because I'm not getting replies whether this stuff is actually helping or not, which is fine. Tracy's done a lot for me already when it comes to creating tickets and adding in here. You can see that it's 99.9 Tracy, which is very much appreciated. And I can't expect her to come back to me and say, oh yeah, that worked on every little thing. That'll be unfair, and it'll be too much to ask. Here's another printer issue ticket, looks like. Driver installation. User wanted to reinstall the printer driver. The printer is HP Envy. That sounds like a laptop. Which driver is compatible with this printer, and how do you install the driver? So we're just going to look for it. This should be very straightforward. We're just going to look for it in Google, right? I mean, you can go to HP website. HP Envy. Oh wow, it is actually a printer. I thought it was like one of those laptops, like one of those gaming laptops or something. I apologize. So anyways, you just do a search for it, and here it comes up under supporthp.com. Click on this, and then go to software and drivers, which is right there. And you know, you have a couple of ways of going about this. You can install the software drivers, you know, and just install it. And here it is. Here are the drivers. You can just click on this one and download it. The most recent one looks like November 23rd, 2021. So here it is. Just download and install. And so this will install everything actually. But here, if you just want just the driver, it's down here. So just the driver. Oops, come on. Close. Here we go, driver. Just the driver. Basic drivers, I guess. Here it is. HP Envy all-in-one printer series, basic driver, IT professional, use only. I like how it says IT professional, use only. Well, I am an IT professional. Thank you very much. So you would just download and install it. You would need administrative privileges, of course. I mean, probably, you know. So I'm going to say you can go to this link. You can go to this link to download the driver. You may need admin privileges to install it. I'm going to say user wanted to reinstall the printer driver. So here's the thing. Now, yeah, I'm just like, this is what I'm going to say. If you wanna let them do it, you can say, and I don't know if this is set up for your environment or not, meaning your business, if this is even allowed. In my opinion, you should never allow users this. But what I'm about to say is, I suppose if user themselves needs to install it and there is no other way around it, you could possibly grant them, grant them temporary admin access. Yeah, that's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it at that, and we're going to continue with this. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in this type of stuff. I know it's been a couple of weeks, or maybe even 3 weeks, since I've released any further help desk videos when it comes to ticketing stuff. I will certainly make more, but you have to understand that I am making videos that are more asked for, that are more popular. So whatever is more popular on my YouTube channel, I'm going to concentrate on making those. I will, of course, I'm going to keep making these, right? I'm never going to stop. As long as there are tickets in here, I'm going to keep making help desk videos, right? But it may be like a month from now that I make a new one, right? It's just depending on what kind of topics are more, how should I say, what is priority for me at this time, right? So if I see that my most popular topic is, for example, Active Directory or Office 365, and I can think of a new topic for that, well, of course, I'm going to make a new video on that. And then whenever I have time, make more help desk videos. Unless you, my viewers, push the video. So for example, if everybody leaves a comment, if everybody clicks a like button, if everybody subscribes after watching this video, then it's going to push the video. It's going to push the video so it becomes more popular, and then it's going to give me the more reason. It's going to give me the priority to make more. As simple as that. I don't mean to sound mean, but that's just the game on YouTube, right? So, you know, because when it comes down to it, this YouTube channel is a business for me. You know what I mean? It's just a small business that I work on. It's just being honest. I'm just being honest. That's it. All right. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.